systems go. Clear for liftoff.
Hello and welcome to this week's NASCAR Quick Hit here at SHIPIT Nation. Tonight we are going to be discussing the Ambetter Health 400, which is taking place at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. As always, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does go an incredibly long way in helping us with the YouTube algorithm. Plus, if you haven't already subscribed, you should do so because word on the street is that Hoop and Tambo have a pretty major announcement coming up tomorrow, assuming you're watching this on Sunday. That means Monday announcement. So if you're watching this on Sunday, make sure to keep tuned in to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel for a pretty big announcement on Monday. All right, this weekend, TV coverage stays on the Fox networks here in the U.S. and TSN5 for our friends in Canada. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock. Well, race coverage starts at 3 o'clock, and pre-race coverage, I believe, begins at 2:30. So once again, that's on the Fox networks in America and the TSN5 network in Canada. This weekend, even though this is not Daytona or Talladega, we are once again super speedway style racing here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And normally at these style of tracks, Dominator points do not come into play. However, I do believe that they will come into play this weekend at Atlanta, and I am recommending you consider rolling out a Dominator or two in your GPPs. Let me read what I actually have wrote so I don't miss any good points here. While we are super speedway racing this weekend, I do believe that Dominator points will come into play as 5 out of the last 6 optimal lineups here at Atlanta have had 2 drivers who have started in the top 10. So 5 out of the last 6 optimal lineups here at Atlanta have had 2 drivers that have started in the top 10. If you're looking at your screen right now, you will see a fairly blank version of the Stone. Out of those top 10 drivers, 9 of them are Fords. 9. I anticipate those 9, well, technically 10 if we want to include Ryan Preece there in 11th. I think they'll be working together pretty often on Sunday. And quickly highlighting some of those optimal plays from years past. Just last fall, Austin Cindric started 5th and finished 10th, but was optimal because he led 92 laps. Then last spring, Blaney and Cindric, Penske, both started in the top 10, both led over 30 laps, and both made it into the optimal. While the main lap leader, Todd Gilliland, started 4th and was on his way to being in the optimal because he led 58 laps, except he got caught up into an accident. So if that accident wouldn't have happened, he was definitely on his way to the optimal, while Blaney and Cindric both were in the optimal. I didn't pull the other stats as well, but I did go back and confirm that 5 out of the last 6 did have 2 drivers who started in the top 10. If you are playing GPPs, I think you should highly consider having 1, if not 2, of those top 10 drivers in your lineup. Cash games this weekend, I still think you can absolutely stack the back like we do at Daytona and Talladega and still make it across the finish line. But I think if you are trying to take down a GPP, you will need to nail down that lap leader. Now, who's that lap leader going to be? Let's figure it out. Let's discuss this slate. Let me get my notes up here. As I mentioned last year, we meaning me, started the season off by highlighting 4 drivers. This year, we're just rambling through the entire starting lineup. So let me get a swig of water for the working man. And it's empty, so we're going into we are going in this dry. All right, let's start off with our pole sitter, Ryan Blaney. Fantastic track history at Atlanta. His worst finish in all 6 of the newly reconfigured Atlanta races, which, by the way, you will probably hear me say the word reconfigure a lot over the next 15-20 minutes. His best finish at the newly reconfigured Atlanta was 17th in 2022. His worst finished, rather, was 17th, and his best finish here is 2nd. Fantastic at Atlanta. Penske in general is fantastic in Atlanta. I expect to see Blaney lead at least 20 plus laps tomorrow. Austin Cindric, much like Ryan Blaney, fantastic track history at Atlanta, crashed out of the 2022 race, but other than that outlier, has finishes of 3rd, 11th, 12th, 4th, and 10th. That boy knows how to keep it up front at Atlanta. Next up, starting 3rd, we have Josh Berry. Only 3 cup starts for Josh here at Atlanta, with the best finished of 18th. That's why his projection is quite a bit lower, or will be quite a bit lower than the other drivers on this page. One thing to note about Josh Berry is even though this is a Wood Brothers owned car and is a Wood Brothers owned Ford, this car gets prepared at Penske and on the Penske campus. So feel free to consider this car just a 4th Penske car. Next up, Joey Logano, 2 wins since the reconfig. And his other finishes have been 9th, 26th, 17th, and 28th. So if he's not winning or putting it in the top 10, he's kind of shitting the bed. Starting 4th, though, so he is primed for a good day on Sunday. Todd Gilliland, average finish of 21.3 in his 6 previous starts. But if you remember, I mentioned before, led 92 laps. Or actually, rather, led 58 laps last year, but then got caught up into an accident. So while his average finish is only 21 here at Atlanta, he does know how to lead laps. If he can stay clean, there's no reason he can't contend for a victory. The lone Chevy in the top 10, Kyle Busch. He was not great here with Joe Gibbs Racing. I believe he had, I didn't write down what his finishes were, but I believe they were both in the 20s for his 2 JGR races here. But since he joined RCR, he has been excellent. Finishes of 10th, 5th, 3rd, and 7th. He's starting 6th. Absolutely put him in your potential Dominator pool if you are going that route. Zane Smith is up next, starting 7th. Only 2 starts here at Atlanta, with finishes of 35th and 21st. Has he been trending upwards, especially at the end of last season? Yes. Am I going to be including him in my player pool or even my Dominator pool? Probably not, just because there are so many better plays around him. However, if he is the Dominator that goes off and he is in your lineup, you will probably smash the day. So that's Zane Smith. Christopher Buescher coming up in 8th place here. 3 finishes in the 30 plus range here in Atlanta, with a best finish of 7th. I love Buescher most weekends. Don't think I'm going to be rolling him out here this week. His owner, Brad Keselowski, is behind him in 9th. Did not run great here last year. 33rd and 19th here in 2024. However, his other finishes in 23 and 22 have been 12th, 18th, 2nd, and 6th. Brad can absolutely get the job done at drafting tracks and is in position to do so again on Sunday. Next up, Noah Gragson in 10th has 4 DNFs in 6 Atlanta starts. 4 out of 6 in this case is bad. Next up, Ryan Preece only has 4 Atlanta starts, and his best finish has been 16th. That's very mid. I don't expect Preece to be. If this is not a wrecked caution-filled race, I don't expect Preece to be in the top 5. If this race gets wrecky, no pun intended, I can see him dodging and weaving all the appropriate wrecks and getting into the top 5, but I just personally don't see it. Next up, AJ Allmendinger, 2 starts here at the New Atlanta in 2023 with a 16th and a 3rd place finish. That's great for AJ. I really don't think he will see much ownership, though, on Sunday. Next up is Alex Bowman. And actually, I'm going to speak on Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace at the same time because they both Bowman and Bubba have an average finish of 19th here and both have a best finish of 5th. So both have an average finish of 19th and both have an best finish of 5th. Alex and Bubba are very much, pretty much the exact same play on Sunday, and they probably won't see a lot of ownership just based on their starting position. I probably won't be having them in my pool. Next up, Austin Dillon in his 6 starts here at the newly configured Atlanta. He has 2 crashes and a best finish of 20th. RCR may be good at super speedways, but that success seems to have stayed with Kyle Busch here at Atlanta. Coming up next, we have William Byron, last week's Daytona 500 winner. Good old Willie B has 2 victories here and has led 173 laps. Love Willie B on Sunday. I just wish personally he was starting a bit further back. We have some chalk smash plays coming up in the rear that are fantastic. If you maybe want to have only one driver in the top 10 in your lineup and then roll someone out like William Byron and then go with back chalk, that might work. That's just an idea that popped into my head during this filming. I don't know how much ownership Willie B will get yet, just because I haven't finished with projections and ownership just yet. But he's good here, and he has led laps. Next up, Kyle Larson. In his 6 starts, Larson has been involved in 5 crashes. And the one race he didn't crash, he finished 13th. So 6 next-gen reconfigured starts at Atlanta for Larson. 5 crashes, 1 13th place finish. Larson is normally never an easy fade for me. Larson's an easy fade for me on Sunday. Next up, Tyler Reddick, good old Red Dog, has been feast or famine here in Atlanta with finishes of 5th and 6th and finishes of 28th, 29th, 27th, and 30th. So, will he feast or will he famine on Sunday? Time shall tell. Chase Elliott has been excellent at Atlanta. However, he does only have 5 starts compared to the majority of full-time drivers having 6 starts on the newly configured Atlanta. However, in those 5 starts, Chase does have 1 victory and a worst finish of 15th. Chase starts 19th on Sunday, and I expect to see him pass race cars on Sunday. Next up, Ty Dillon, 4 starts at Atlanta with a best finish of 19th. I don't have any issues rolling him out in GPPs, having him in the pool. I don't think I would go terribly crazy with the exposure on him just because there's so many other better there's so many other potentially better plays out there that I wouldn't go crazy with them. But if you want to play the ownership game, when we want to get different, sure, roll out some Ty. Next up, Justin Haley. Justin Haley has always outperformed his equipment at Atlanta. And now he's actually in good equipment, which is Aspire Motorsports equipment. Justin Haley's average finish here is 13.3, and he starts 21st. So if he just gets to his average finish, that's a great PD day. I think he can do more, and I think he's capable of doing more. Time will tell. John Hunter Nemechek up next. 33rd and 21st here last year. Nothing to write home about at all. Let me get to my thing here. Yeah, I can't see me using a lot of John Hunter on Sunday. Cole Custer, he has 3 starts at newly configured Atlanta, 1 DNF, 1 32nd place finish, and 1 9th place finish. That doesn't scream, Eric, add me to the player pool. So I'm probably off Cole Custer. Michael McDowell, 2 poles, but only has managed a best finish of 4th in 2020, which was in 2023. However, he is, I would say, in better equipment now, which is the Spire Motorsports equipment, compared to the equipment he was in, which was the Front Row Motorsports equipment. So, best place finish of 4th, has been known to be an excellent speedway racer, and he's an excellent equipment. Would not surprise me to see him pass cars on Sunday. Next up, Chase Briscoe, as our friend, the great DGen75 would say, not good, Bob, not good. Has finished 15th and 16th in 2022 here in Atlanta, but then has been in the 20s and 30s ever since. However, all of that happened not in JGR equipment. So you have Chase Briscoe, who is notoriously not the best here in Atlanta, in fantastic equipment with a team who was just hit with a massive, massive penalty after Daytona. The team is absolutely going to be hunting for victories and probably getting crazy with strategies and things like that. I just don't know if I can roll him out here on Sunday at Atlanta. Carson Hocevar is up next. Only 2 starts, which was last year. 16th and 19th. Nothing to write home about. Very average there for Hocevar. Riley Herbst, no Cup starts in Atlanta. However, he did show a lot of promise while he was racing in the Xfinity Series, and has a 4th and 5th place Xfinity finish to his credit here at Atlanta. Let me scroll down my notes a little bit here. Where we were with Riley Herbst, Eric Jones. No, Eric Jones is next. Boom. Next up, Eric Jones. That Jones boy finished 4th here in 2022 and had a very nice Daytona 500. It's way, 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 way too early to be having this like as a serious discussion. But is this a turnaround season for Eric Jones? Is he finally riding the ship after a couple rough seasons? Would be pretty great to see. Next up, we have Mi Amigo, and probably where the majority of the chalk will begin. Mi Amigo Daniel Suarez, who has been fantastic here at Atlanta since the reconfiguration with one victory. And if you remember, that came in the thrilling photo finish last season. He also had 2 second place finishes and a 4th, a 6th, and an outlier of 29th. Suarez absolutely has race winning upside and major place differential upside. You can't ask for a better spot to be in if you are Daniel Suarez as far as DFS plays are concerned. I'm sure he would like to be on the pole and lead every lap and not be bothered. But as far as we go, Daniel Suarez, we'll see a lot of ownership, but for good reason. He has backed it up every time he's been at Atlanta. Next up, Shane Van Gisbergen. I love SVG. Just don't love him here. And it's just like last week. I just didn't love him at Daytona. He will be a very hard click to fully include him in the player pool. And it's not because of his talent. He just needs more races under his belt at the style of racetrack with the Cup car, period. If there's attrition and all kinds of drivers fall out tomorrow, could he get you a top 20? Hell, even a top 15? For sure, if he stays out of trouble. I just don't think he's going to race his way up there. So, love SVG, just not ready for him yet. Next up, Cody Ware. He seems to squeak by with decent finishes at Talladega and Daytona, but that really does not apply at Atlanta because he has finishes of 26th, 23rd, 25th, and 30th. Yeah, that's not the best. That's not the best. Let's see here. Next up, we have. Let's see here. Cody Ware. Did I speak on Cody Ware? Yes. No, I didn't. Cody Ware. Decent finishes at Daytona and Talladega. Doesn't really apply at Atlanta with finishes of 26th, 23rd, 25th, and 30th. Even though he's very cheap, I think you will need more from him than that to make the optimal lineup. Christopher Bell is up next. His average finish has been 17th, and his average super speedway finish in the next gen era has also been 17th. Fantastic pace differential upside with race winning upside as well. Mi Amigo's teammate Ross Chastain, the Melon Man, has also been fantastic here in Atlanta with an average finish of 12th. And in that average finish is also a 35th place finish, which happened in 2023. So if you have an average finish of 12th, and that includes a 35th place finish, you're doing pretty good, Bob. You're doing pretty good. Both Trackhouse drivers smash plays on Sunday. Corey, next up is actually Ricky Stenhouse Jr. All the heavy hitters around him. I think there's a chance Ricky Stenhouse gets overlooked on Sunday. He has excelled on super speedways during his career and has an average finish of 18th here in Atlanta. However, he does have a best finish of 6th. Fantastic place differential upside if he can keep it together. Next up, we have Corey LaJoie. And truthfully, this is where I think will be Corey LaJoie's best chance to steal a victory. It's his best track, and in the past 6 starts, he has an average finish of 14th with a best finish of 4th. If he's going to sneak out a victory anywhere, it's going to be in Atlanta. Will it be tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening to this? Probably not. Ty Gibbs, 36th. 4 races here. Average finish of 17th. We all know he's an A+ equipment. If he can keep the nose clean, race winning upside like every weekend. Denny Hamlin, we all know Denny can win on any given Sunday, and of course, this Sunday is no different. However, Danny does have an average finish of 20th at the New Atlanta, so take that into consideration. And then bringing up the rear, we have BJ McLeod, who has 6 starts here at Atlanta with an average finish of 26th, and JJ Yaley, who is starting dead last. JJ does have 3 starts on the newly configured Atlanta and did manage a 7th place here in 2023. The only way he's going to replicate that 7th place finish is if there are multiple ice cream shops that break down between now and then, and people don't show up and he makes it through. Right? Like there's no way he's making it through a top 7th tomorrow unless everybody smashes and goes eats ice cream and doesn't come back into the race. At least that's my opinion. I think that's it for my notes, right? That's all 39 drivers. It is all 39 drivers. All right. Hey, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and probably put finishing touches on projections and ownership. Probably going to finalize the slate plan after some sleep tonight, because I'm recording this on Saturday night. And then we're all going to ship these contests on Sunday. So, hey, as always, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, let's ship it.